Folks, file this one under things you can't even make up after you've been drinking a lot. Bardstown Bourbon Company, looking for an edge, consistently pushing the envelope, finding out how do we as a brand stay ahead of our competition? How do we stand out in a crowded field, which is only going to get more crowded because there's more whiskey and there's probably going to be more expressions coming out at different proof points. So a crowded field is going to become increasingly complex. So they ask the question, how do we stand out? This is the result, a new label design. It's simple, it's bold, it's clear. Does my gut like it? Well, no, my first reaction was like, what the hell? It looks like a step back. The other bottles were elegant with the etched design in the background. They were cool. But you know what? I gave it some thought, gave it some distance, and I stared at the bottles from a distance. And guess what? Especially for me, just turned 54 a week ago. This is a hell of a lot easier to see across the room, the back of a bar, especially a dimly lit bar at that. So in a world where there are more choices than ever, and our eyesight is getting worse than ever thanks to our phones, this might just be a brilliant move. Easy to see, color-coded, okay, nice, simple reference system. There's a reason as a child, and if you're not as old as I am, you may not get this reference, Garanimals work, color-coded clothing, right? You always go out with something that matches. Well, it's not quite Garanimals, but I like the direction of it from a user interface or wayfinding kind of perspective. It's smart, it's simple, but it is not what we're used to. You know, in this day and age, things are getting simplified sometimes way too far. Just look at Cracker Barrel and that fiasco there. But in this case, I think it's going to work. The bottle shape remains the same, so there's some consistency there. The name is front and center at the top, like they've been doing. I am a little surprised that the logo has been minimized so much, but they may have found through studies that that logo, well, it just doesn't have the brand recall that they hope it did. But the name, well, I bet you the name does, and that's why it's front and center. So that said, you know, I'm not going to say I love the design from just a design perspective, but from a usability and accomplishing probably the job they needed to do, I think it's a home run, quite frankly. And I hope to see numbers in the future. It'd be great if Bardstown would continue the transparency that they give us on the bottle to how this actually impacts sales, brand recall, things of that nature. That would be cool because as a recovering marketer, I dig those type of geeky details out there as well. But ultimately, if you watched my Instagram story or my YouTube short, there's a lot of people over the years that said, I don't buy a bottle because of the label, right? And if you are buying bottles simply because of the labels, we need to talk. Just DM me and let me explain what you're doing wrong. But for all of us who've always said, I don't buy for the label, we need to just get over it. You know what? Pour it in a glass, take one of your old bottles, pour it in a glass, and do a blind taste. Guess what? They're going to taste the same because the label, that's right, label doesn't mean a damn thing to what's ultimately in the glass. So love it or hate it, all it matters is for the brand and if it moves the needle and keeps whiskey sales up, which at the end of the day is all that I care about seeing is because when whiskey sales is up, we get more whiskey, we get more options, we get a lot of cool things to play with. And at the end of the day, that's a win-win situation. So I hope you join me and pour a glass, whether it's the new label, the old label, whatever it may be, raise a glass to whiskey, especially bourbon. And remember, folks, if you're going to drink, well, join us and drink curious.